Welcome to The Roofer Show with your host, Dave Sullivan. You found the podcast that helps roofing contractors grow their businesses, make more money, and have more free time.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Roofer Show podcast, the place to be if you want to grow a more profitable roofing business. I am your host, Dave Sullivan, the Roofer Coach, and also the Roofer CFO, where I help roofing contractors figure out their numbers, learn to read a financial statement to drive your business. Sitting next to me, John Delorier from Savannah, Georgia. What's going on, John?
What's up, Dave? Just another day.
Good. Yeah, another day in paradise. Well, this is episode number 405. We've been doing this thing for 405 weeks, because I just love it. It's great. So not bad. We did do a rerun last week because I was on vacation, still am on vacation, and I hope our listeners out there, I want to know where you're going to take your 2-week vacation. Where are you going to take your family this year, 2025? If you can't take a 2-week vacation, you don't have a business. You've got a job. Okay. And this is what we talk about on this show, is building a business that does not rely on you. And that was last week's show. We had Adam Patterson from SMA Support talking about how to use virtual assistants to help run your business and build this out in such a way where you're building value into your business, where each step is about removing yourself from a job. That's the goal. We build to sell from day one. Whether we want to sell it or not the issue, but we have options. We get down the road and maybe we're going to sell it to private equity. Maybe we're going to pass it down to our kids, whatever it's going to be. But you've got to really get your plan together. And I think that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today, John. I wanted to get into this. We talked earlier about, it's November. And I mean, this 2024, it's over. We're getting into the holidays. Have you done your business planning for 2025? Because it's just going to blow by and you're going to be January, February, March, and you have no plan. You have no strategy. And here you are just treading water, stuck in the mud like so many contractors are. And because you don't have a plan. We don't have a plan for what are we going to do for our marketing. It's changing. Everything is changing. It's changing fast. The economy is changing. Well, here it is, election day. No telling what's going to happen next few, coming up. But hey, whatever, it's going to be different. And we have to be able to adjust. Just like Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. You've got to be flexible. So what do you think about that, John? You want to talk about some things that are going on, and particularly in your business? I mean, you do a great job of business planning, thinking this strategy out, and that's why you kick some ass. What do you think? Let's get into that.
Doing it right now as we speak. I'm going over a plan because we had a shift. So one thing that we did is Cameron's in Athens, Clay's in Savannah, 2 offices. It's slow as far as lead flow goes in Athens. It's probably because of the election. It's been that way the whole year. And then Savannah had a couple different storms. So we have quite a few leads that are flowing through our pipeline, a ton. Right now, I mean, we have a lot of people that we've had in our quote sent part of our process, and we need to move them on. We need to either get a no, get a yes, or move to the next stage in the process to start building that roof. So it is essential. I mean, so basically you need to identify the weaknesses and the strengths of your company. So now Cameron, who is slow in leads, is becoming an inside sales rep because he's really good at overcoming objections. He understands roofing extremely well. He's going to be able to answer questions from homeowners that a typical receptionist may not be able to answer. And he'll be able to actually close those deals at a much higher rate. So that's part of our process right now of I'm coming up with a list of things, of requirements and expectations, and the best strategy for him to be successful when he's working inside sales position. Now, he is going to see outside sales stuff in Athens, but it's just not enough lead flow to make it worth his while. So I want to increase his income and also help increase the company's sales by adding that really high level position.
I like it. You know, so many of our contractors coming into winter, they get shut down through weather or whatever, slows down, particularly around the holidays, you know. But that doesn't mean you just sit on the couch and watch Oprah, man. I mean, you know, you've got to get out there. This is the time where you want to work on your business, not just in your business all the time. Everybody talks about that. You know, what does that mean? Well, working on your business is taking a step back, putting a plan together, and really setting some goals and implementing and making some things happen. When you're working in your business all the time, you're just, you can't see the forest through the trees. You're just buried, and you just, you know, you're in there and you hear so many complaints. I got to do everything. I'm wearing all the hats, you know, I'm just buried, you know, nobody can do anything, blah, blah, blah. That's you as a leader. I mean, stop bitching about that and make something happen and take action and do it consistently. So, you know, I just want to touch on, and here's the one thing I think that I'm sure we agree on that you can do right now that's going to produce. And what you said about we want to get to, you know, I call it we want to get to know, okay, which is you've got 3 buckets. You're going to sell the roof. They're going to say, no thanks. Or they're going to say, I got to think about it. Okay. I got to wait for the money to come in or do whatever it is. Okay. Now, when we say we want to get to know, we want to know if we lost the job, fine. We know we're going to lose, you know, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, whatever. So it's a given. So, but getting to know, and then we can focus on the people. As you say, what Cameron's doing is talking to people that haven't made a decision, taking the next step. It's always, what's the next step? Okay. I'm not quite ready to do the job. Well, the question is, what is it that's holding you back? Okay. Well, I'm waiting for this check to come in, whatever. Okay, great. I understand that. When do you think that might be happening? Okay, well, 2 weeks? Great. How about if I give you a call in 3 weeks on that Tuesday? Boom. That's the next step we talk about. So you take that next step, and then there's a next step and a next step until we close the deal. But most guys, you know, I call it those open jobs, that open bucket, where that's the majority of your work. Okay, that's the majority of the quotes. And too many contractors, they make that quote and just move on. They never hear about it again. They will forget who you are. They will lose your quote. You know, I've done that so many times, as I'm sure most of you all have, where, you know, okay, well, it's time to do my whatever it is, and you can't find the quote. You can't remember what the guy's name is. You got to go to Google and start again. So that happens, and this is why you want to stay top of mind. And this is what ProLift CRM, we were talking about this earlier with AJ, and how this is so effective. And it's all about automations. They stay on top of it. You can follow this. You're getting response back, so you're working these deals. You just had a huge, you know, you did a podcast earlier today. Tell me a little about that and what that means for your business.
So we recorded another podcast. AJ is the co-founder of ProLift, and we use ProLift in our roofing business, but I always want to make it better. And
this is your CRM we're talking about.
This is our CRM. And so often we say ProLift is the CRM that actually helps you sell roofs. And when people are like, I don't believe that, or how does that happen? Whatever, there's always an objection to that. Well, we went through a lot of things on the Big Roofs podcast of how it actually sells roofs. You're giving a better customer experience. You're communicating directly to the homeowner way more times. You have a better proposal. You have more touch points than anyone else. You're developing rapport way better than anyone else. You have an amazing sales follow-up. We had, I referenced somebody who actually reached out to us 364 days after the proposal. We had been sending out drip campaign text messages and email to that person for almost a year. And this happens all the time. Like you're staying top of mind with that homeowner. The big holdup was like, I got to cut this tree down before I do my roof. And they just never did it. They never cut the tree down. They're like, I just got to do the roof. So if we didn't send out automated follow-ups from ProLine, we never would be on that person's mind. A year later would never happen. They would just not remember. So it's really, really important that you make sure that you actually, you spend so much time, effort, energy, money in getting these leads to turn to appointments, to turn to proposals. You're trying to close these jobs. And if you just throw them away after a week, your customer acquisition cost is really high because your close rate is so low, because it takes way more estimates to actually sell a roof. Whenever you can just have all these, let's call it 10 estimates, you may sell 2 or 3 of them in the next 20 days. You may sell another 2 of them maybe in the next 6 months. And then you may sell another 2 of them in a year from now. Mm-hmm. So as opposed to selling maybe 3 or 4 of those, maybe, if you're good. And that's just the difference between having automated follow-ups and not.
You know, and what we're talking about, everybody wants more leads. Okay. If you follow this program, you don't need as many leads. You're going to improve your close rate. You're going to bring your customer acquisition cost down. And that's the important, it's critical. It's the easiest way to sell more work, to grow your business, because you've already spent the money to go out there. You've already spent the money to get the lead. Oh no, it was a referral. No, you spent money to get that lead one way or another. Okay. So you've spent that money's already spent. You've done all the stuff. Why do you want to go out? Oh, I'm going to go, I don't have any leads, so I'm going to go pay for leads and do stupid things like that, where your acquisition cost skyrockets, your close rate goes down the tubes. It's a crazy strategy. But yeah, I mean, that's why I do love ProLine, because it just, the automations, and this is something we talk about on the show a lot, are automations, our tech stack. Basically, what are we using for technology? How is this is how your business is going to grow. This is what we talk about, building a company to sell. Because if you've got automations, if you've got systems, processes, people, first off, positions that you need to run a business efficiently for your size of business, right sizing your business, you've got those positions. Now you got to put the right people in those positions. EOS calls it, seats on the bus, putting the right butts in the seats. You can listen to us and save yourself 10 grand off the EOS. But basically the same idea, and that's how we're going to do it. But let's jump back and start from scratch, basically I call it just do the basics. Okay. Check the boxes. So if you do nothing else, just take the things that we're going to talk about on this show, check them off, make sure you got them dialed in. Can we tweak some of these, make improvements? Okay. So we're going to talk about the 3-legged stool. You've got to sell work, you've got to do work, and you've got to keep score. And that's what your business is those 3 legs. They have to be in balance, and we have to look at each one of those. And if one of those legs is out of balance, it's not strong, it's weak, well, the stool tips over. And that's the same thing for your business. So thoughts about that, John?
Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, you need to make sure that every part of that stool is strong, and you cannot, there's no, oops, we fell down. It's about, like, the business is gone. If you don't have the sell work down, you don't have the production part, you're losing a bunch of money. And if you don't keep score and you don't understand your numbers, what are you doing? What are you even there for? You're just being busy all day. So yeah, totally agree.
Well, let's get into our first leg, which is sales. Now, nothing happens until somebody sells something, but you can't sell anything until you have a lead, some interest, where somebody's interested in buying what you have to sell. Okay. So let's start there, and let's just talk about the basics. And I know something you're doing is you're redoing your website. Your website is the foundation of your marketing. It's it's just the basic thing. You've got to have a good website. You've got to have a good website that is technically sound, where Google can find you. You've got to have, so we've got to attract prospects first off. We do that with our SEO and from all the other things that we're going to talk about, but we've got to get interest. We've got to get people finding us. Okay. And that's what a good website will do. Once they find you, what do they do when you get to their website? Are they looking at one page and bouncing? That's usually what happens. And they're not going to get into it where you're going to convert, because you can have all the visitors in the world. And this is what these SEO clowns, a lot of these guys will sell. Hey, look at this. I got all these people coming to your website. Well, nobody's converting. Nobody's buying. No, and what you're doing is you're attracting qualified prospects, visitors to your website that are interested in what you have to offer. You as an expert, they have questions. They're searching the web. They're searching for, how do I fix my shingle roof? How do I do this or that? Your name needs to come up. They need to find you. Once they find you, you have to have something of interest, and you've got to convert to filling out a form, more information. Maybe you've got a lead magnet on 10 things you need to know about your roof. You get their email address, download. That's a conversion. But ideally, you've got to have an appointment first. That's our first sale, is getting that appointment and having the opportunity. And that's what our website should do. It's not a static brochure where you've got all these pretty pictures and so forth. That doesn't mean squat. Okay. It has to convert. So, John, and you, I know you spent a lot of time on your website. You've got an awesome website, but you work at it constantly. So let's just talk about that briefly, because again, talking about the basics, check the box. Let's look at your website. Get a website audit. It's simple. We do them. Contact me. I've got guys that'll do them for, you can get a basic website for nothing, it's free. But John, tell us what's going on with your site and what is your goal?
So you need exactly what you said. You need a website that you're trying to sell roofs. So it needs to help you sell roofs. It needs to show people why you're different. It can't be generic. You can, you're just not going to really help anyone make a decision. They're not going to see why they should choose you over your competition if there's not a bunch of pictures of you, your team, and your crews. Nobody cares about, there's some product things that can help, but in general, they're trusting you and they're trusting the brand, the company. And so you need to communicate that. And this is not a set it and forget it kind of deal. You have to continue to build written content, typically blogs, typically web pages within your website. Things like, let's just say you have a certain municipality, certain city that you work in. Well, there may be sub cities or just other little towns that are around. Make really good pages on your website that have pictures of jobs you've done there, that have just actually take time and effort and energy to help people find you. This is real stuff that can help you sell more jobs. Your storefront is your website. Just never forget that.
Yep. Yeah, it's like going to a retail store. Okay, they come to your storefront. They're looking inside. Are they going to go inside and see what you've got to offer? That's what we're talking about. And as you mentioned, John, with the pages, it's so important. Just basically, you've got to have a good homepage. Okay. What is the attraction? What makes you different? If you get a stock photo of somebody's house, the same one that everybody else has got, well, what does that mean to me? That doesn't mean anything. I'm going to just go to somebody else that's more interesting. I'm going to find John, and I'm going to say, whoa, this guy's got some interesting stuff. Oh, I see his, I like his photo. There's photos of his family. Oh, those are actual jobs that he's done. He lives in the community. He's got all of these things. So that's just, the storefront. How do you get somebody to walk in? And so you've got to have a good offer, a good reason for them to do that. Now they're looking for services. You've got to have your services page. What is it that you do? Hopefully you don't do everything. It's everything to everybody, because that doesn't work. You want to niche down and be the best at the services that you do, and whatever that is. John, what do you got on the service? What do your service pages look like?
So we niche down. We used to do everything. We were roofing and renovation. And we realized really quickly after 18, 24 months, that was a bad idea. So
Let's talk about why is that a bad idea?
all right. So you think, oh, I'm leaving money on the table. Well, when you look at the actual profit margin of these jobs, you're not making that much profit. You may make a lot more revenue. We did really well. We had great revenue, but a lot of that money was just lost because of the inefficiencies. We had people, we had the processes there, but we were not efficient at all. Doing anything in a niche way is much, much better. You can be just a window guy or just a painting person or just whatever it is, but niching down as far as possible is the wisest action. So what we do is we mainly do shingle roof replacements for residential. That's what we do. Residential roof replacements. That's our niche. We do offer gutters. We do offer standing seam metal, but we don't really want to market that way. And so in general, we're trying to niche down to just that. We're really good at that. We're really going to give a great customer experience. We're going to give the best warranties. The customers are going to be happy. They're going to write reviews. That's what we like to do.
And that's exactly, you want to be the best in what it is that your prospect is looking for. And if you are, jack of all trades, master of none, you do a little of that, do a little that, no job's too big, no job's too small, we'll do anything. And they get into that, a lot of our clients have, they ask me if I do decks. Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm getting asked that all the time. So sure, we'll do a deck. Well, when you break that out, and here's a good example in my business, this is what made all the difference in the world. So I grew up in a small family business, wasn't making any money and so forth. I ended up taking it over. We would do residential, we'd do commercial, we'd do anything, dog houses, whatever it is. Well, I wasn't making any money. I'm busting my ass, working all these long hours, just like so many of our listeners, it's just struggling. Well, the one thing I was smart enough to bring in a coach. I got a roofing coach, and this is going way back. They weren't even called coaches. They're roofing consultants, okay? Business consultants, and which is what we do, right? So same idea. First thing he did was, okay, well, what do you do? What's your business? I go, well, we do roofing. We'll do anything. He says, well, where do you make your money? I go, I don't know. We just do roofing. Well, let's break those out into profit centers. Basically, what we did was commercial and residential, and there was pretty much a balance. Okay. Now, I always thought we made money in residential, but what turned out, we broke that out. We looked at each of the jobs, job costing wise, and our margins just weren't there on the residential work. Also, when we broke out our overhead associated with that smaller work, we had more warranty work, more callbacks, crappier reviews, spending more time on that for a small amount of work. So it turns out we were losing our ass. Well, we made a lot of money in commercial work, but the other work was sucking our time. So we couldn't really focus on that. And he convinced me. He says, get out of it. Drop the residential. Not that one's better than the other. We just weren't good at it. We could not do residential work very well, but commercial, we kicked ass. So we switched to commercial and things just took off. And that business was successful. We built out a great service department that was extremely profitable. I was able to exit the business at an early age, and it's all good. So focus down. The riches are in the niches. I got off track. Anyway, so this is our services page, right? Keep me going here, man. Bring me back.
You just Sullivaned it.
Okay, so we've got our services page. So people find you and they know, hey, this is what these guys have, what I need. Okay. And they look really good at it. And I can see that I believe I can trust these guys. I'm going to call them. I'm going to fill out this form. Now, the city pages, where do you work? You don't work everywhere. You've got to decide where you work. I'm not going 3 hour drive or whatever. I'm going to focus down, contractor dynamics, Joe Hughes, he calls it 5 mile famous. That means within that 5 mile radius, everybody knows you and you can dominate it. Oh no, I gotta go out, 3 hours out because I've got to get more leads and so forth. Focus on those cities, those areas that you can dominate in, and everybody knows your name. And those are the city pages. And to build out a good website, each of those cities should have its own page, its own content, and build it out where people are going to find you. Google loves that. Thoughts on that, John?
Yeah, totally agree. Like you've got to actually do that. This is 100% thing. It's a hard work. Work is different in this type of world now. It's not just go out and kind of, the expectations are so much higher, and the challenge of generating new leads takes a whole list of things that you need to do on a consistent basis to actually not worry about your lead flow. It's very difficult to do. I am not an expert by any means. I have not figured it out. It's a constantly moving target that we try to hit. But yeah, you're totally right.
Okay, and then we've got our about page, okay, which is really the second most visited page. People want to know who they're dealing with. Okay, well, these guys look pretty good. Well, let me dig into this a little more. Now, your about page is about people. That's what you've got to offer. That's what's different. You know, we can all do the same roof, so forth, but by showing your people, showing your trucks, showing professional job sites, knowing that, hey, these are the guys that are going to be coming to my home, that are going to be hanging around with my kids, you've got to build trust. And I think one of the things I know what you're doing, and might as well pop into this, is video. Okay. Having video, not only on your website, but it's a huge lead generator for you. We were talking about this earlier.
Well, it's how consumers buy now. They want to see video content. You're talking about producing content. Well, that just means make videos. Just obviously, if you listen to us for any amount of time, we talk about that. They ask, you answer. So whatever questions your customers have, answer those questions with a video. You may have heard this a million times, but are you doing it? I'm recording personally myself between 10 and 40 videos every single week. And we're editing them and posting them every week. It's really important to do it and to actually execute it. You can know this information, but if you're not doing it, it doesn't really matter. For short term, medium term, and long term lead generation, trust, sales close rate, all those things, creating videos is the way to do that. And you don't need to have a marketing company come to your business every single week and do this. You can just use your phone and buy a $12 magnetic microphone, Bluetooth microphone, and you can shoot videos just like this. You can use ChatGPT, come up with 10 to 20 different things you want to talk about, read off that list, make a video. 30 seconds, 60-second video for each one of them. Just put it in your calendar. Say every Thursday from 9 to 11. This is what it is. Every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. we're shooting videos. 2 hours a week, every week. That's 8 hours a month. An entire day of the month, we're shooting videos.
But you feel that has value, that is
tremendous value.
Great
and actual sales. People have constantly said, we saw your video. It was funny. It was informational. It was all the things that we want them to say, actually selling roofs. You just got to do it.
But I'm not good on camera. I don't know what to talk about. Quit. I got 100 reasons why just quit I'm not going to do it.
Small business owners must. I don't care if you're in a coffee shop, a mechanic shop, whatever small business you have, you better be creating content or have enough money to pay someone to create content for you. There is no other option now. It's only going to increase every year. If you're not constantly posting on all the platforms, Google Business Profile, all the social media platforms, YouTube Shorts, YouTube long form, if you're not doing that, you're going to always complain about lead flow. You're always going to complain.
I agree. I mean, 10 videos, start with 5 videos a week. Do one a day. You're up on the roof all the time. You may not think it's interesting, but there's so much that you can show and short video. Hey, here's a problem we ran into, and this is how we solved it. Boom. I mean, you got a phone. You've got to do that. And I agree. If you don't, you're passed by. I mean, you've got to do this, and it's not that complicated. Throw out a few topics, John. I mean, this is what are the questions that you get asked all the time by your customers?
All right,
they're asking the same things.
We all know, like, okay, they may not ask the question, but you need to make these videos anyway. What to expect on inspection day? Make that video. And do you fly a drone? Do you climb on the roof? Do you use chalk? Whatever it is, do that. Where you park your vehicle is important. All these things, you want to be respectful to not block people in. If you're coming in their home and looking in their attic, are you wearing, booties around your dirty feet? Like, all these things are important and can help people, they understand how to set your company apart from the competition. And if you're using ProLine, they're sending out a personalized email saying, hey, this is Clay or this is Cameron. And they knock on the door and they're like, hey, I saw you in the video. Good to meet you in person, Clay. And then there's already rapport. So that's one video. What to expect on inspection day. Another video, super important, is what to expect on roof day. So please move your vehicles from the road. There's going to be loud noises. Do you need to board your pet up? This is what we're going to do to protect your landscape. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take pictures throughout the entire process to show if you have any rotten decking or multiple layers of shingles. This is how we're going to flash your roof. This is the roof system we're installing. This is how we're going to clean up. We're going to use magnets. 10-point inspection, final walkthrough. Like, all those things are super important to making a video. Another one is a really high quality, spend at least $1,000 to pay a videographer and an editor to make a company video. That's like low tier $1,000 video. Company video, who you are, why you do what you do, what makes you different, why should they trust you, whatever you want to make it to be. You gotta put your content creator hat on and really, really show your team, show why they should choose you. All those things are super important. Probably long form video on YouTube as well. Those are just 3 videos that you have to make. Every single company has to make those videos. There's a lot of other videos to make. There's like, how to stop a roof leak, do a pipe boot video, do a pipe collar video, do a flashing video, do a whole chimney video, do drip edge video with gutter video. Like, this is all residential replacement stuff. Just the stuff that it's gonna help the customer understand why they're paying the premium price for your services, because they're getting a premium service.
Exactly.
So all that really matters. You gotta put effort into it and set aside time every single week to shoot the videos.
John, when you started, you were talking about customer touches.
Yeah.
How many times you touch that customer. And if you understand basic marketing 101, it takes, whether it's 7, 8 touches before a customer gets to know you, or before that prospect turns into a customer. And this starts off with the initial phone call. Okay. Initial phone call. Somebody better answer the damn phone, because that's your first touch. That's what's setting that first impression. And this is why we talk about Ruby receptionists all the time. Get them to answer the phone. You don't have time to answer the phone. You don't do it well. Get a professional to do it. It's inexpensive, but that's your first touch. Okay. First touch, setting that up. If you don't have somebody answering the phone, a live person, you're just throwing money away because they're not
Yep.
going to leave a message. They're just going to go on to somebody that's more professional. I mean, you're just getting passed by. This industry is changing rapidly, and there's just not going to be any room for you, okay, unless you do these things. So that's our first touch. Now, let's say we set the appointment. Okay, well, there's our second touch. How are we going to do that? Okay, making sure that people are very nice. They set it an appointment at their convenience. Now you are going to send a confirmation. Well, confirmation, there's another touch. Okay, when you talk about your video, John, I think I'm sure you do this, is that before you even get there, you're sending out that video, what to expect on inspection day. Okay.
Yep.
What do it sounds simple to you, but your prospect has no idea. Well, we fly this drone. We're going to do this. I'm going to, ask you these questions. So prepare for all of this. This is how we do it. Okay. That's another touch. And then we're going to have another confirmation. We're going to over communicate before we even get out to that first inspection. We've already had 5, 6, 7 touches where they know who we are. You've have a little bio. Here's who's going out to see roof, going to do the inspection. Here's our photo. Here's a little information about him. Oh, well, that guy, went to the same school, or he's in the same area as I am. There's that connection. So you're constantly communicating. And, reviews, it's a no-brainer. I don't think we even need to talk about reviews. It is so important to get good reviews. But my point is, when you go look at reviews, and I like to get my prospects to look at the reviews, look at other companies, and go look at those 1 and 2 star reviews, particularly on other companies. We don't have any, but what they're going to find is it's always some kind of communication screw up. They didn't tell me they were coming, or they didn't say that they were doing this or that. And our communication was all screwed up. I couldn't get hold of them because nobody answers their phone. Overly communicate. So what we're doing, as we talked about, we're going over the basics. We're checking these boxes. We're getting prepared to make the sale. This doesn't cost you any money. It's just good business and being organized. And this is what we talk about, our business plan, checking these things off. And you can go to our website at theroofershow.com. You can download our 1-page business plan for free. It's simple. It's easy. It'll talk about a lot of these basics. So that's easy, simple. That's what we're talking about. Basics. Check the boxes. Okay. So we're getting leads. John, you got any other thoughts about leads? There's paid leads, but if you're doing these things correctly, you don't need to pay for leads. Get leads, get your job signs out, get your postcards out, drop your door hangers around the neighborhood, dominate your neighborhood, add content to your website. These are relatively inexpensive, free lead generators, and they will generate leads. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need all the other things, Thumbtack, Yelp, Google Business Profile, all those things are super important. Facebook, Instagram, all those things you got to be on top of all those things too.
Yep.
I feel like pay-per-click right now in almost every market. There's some that do it really well, but most people do not see a significant ROI, or the ROI is there, but the acquisition cost is incredibly high. We're talking about $1,500 to acquire a customer, $2,000 to acquire a customer. And that can work for some people, but you have to make sure that you're actually closing consistently, and your average ticket is pretty high, much higher than most residential replacement contractors. I mean, if you're in certain markets where you're doing $100,000 roofs all the time, like we talk about old Zach and Icon a lot. He's
Yes,
just
we do.
freaking nailing these, we're talking about like tile roofs or things like that, slate roofs, things with the higher ticket. That makes total sense to do that. But for most people, like our average ticket's like 15 to 16,000. That doesn't make a lot of sense, because if we're doing a 30% margin, let's just call it $5,000 of profit per roof. If we're spending 2,000 of it acquiring the customer, it doesn't make sense. So you've got to find a way to acquire customers at a much lower acquisition cost.
Definitely. It's, and this is what we talk about are planning. This is the time to do it. Get your plan together. And these are things that are not going to pay off immediately. But if you do these consistently every day, just a little bit, do the basics, the basic blocking and tackling, do it really well, it will pay off. And then because most contractors, oh, I'm out of leads. Quick, turn the faucet on. Let's go to Angie's List and buy a bunch of crap leads here. You know, that's not the way to run a business. And if you're doing that, you're not going to be successful. I mean, you're just not. And there's no point in listening to this because, you're wasting your time. So now we've got leads. We've got our basics down. We've checked the boxes. We're selling roofs. I'm not going to get into how to sell roofs and so forth, but we've got a whole process for doing that. And process is a checklist. It's step by step, nothing fancy, nothing complicated. This is what you do. You get the lead, you do this, you do that, you do that. And that's how you do it every time. And that's building consistency. That's building value into your business. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. So there's our first leg. Now we've got all these sales because we've done all the stuff. Well, the second leg, you've got to do the work. Okay. And there's no point in selling the job for a lot of money if you're just going to piss it away in making mistakes on the job, in slippage, we call it profit slippage, profit leakage. And that means, not having the right materials, not having the right things, having to make all these lumberyard runs. This is what costs the money. John, throw out a couple of tips maybe we'll just touch on this because hopefully most contractors know how to do the jobs and they know how to make money on them. They just don't do it consistently.
Yeah. I mean, you got to develop relationships with your crews, whether they're employees or subcontractors. You got to set really clear expectations. Also pay your people well. Like if they're your employees or not, like just pay them well. Say, hey, I'm going to pay you more than the other guys are paying you. And this is the reason why, because I have these expectations. You've got to get to the job site at X time every single time. You have to communicate every single time. You have to put the cones out, whatever the checklist that you have for them. This is the reason we use a catch-all system, whatever. All those reasons are the reasons why I'm paying you more, because I have high expectations, because we want to have a supremely excellent customer experience. Like that's just the production part of things. Yes, you need to make sure that you double, triple check all the measurements to make sure that the material list is accurate. ProLine does all this for you, but you need to make sure that you put some eyes on it before you send the material order out, because we all know roofing, residential roofing, and just roofing in general, but like there are so many variables that no matter how good your inspection is, there can be some issues. It may be, hey, it's probably more than 2 sheets of decking on this one, or there's, whatever it is, the flashing's going to be super bad. So let's make sure we have extra step flashing. Whatever the thing is, you need to be an expert in actually how to build a roof, or at least be able to train someone to understand these nuances of each individual roof that we're replacing. And that will drastically reduce all that you said, like the Home Depot runs and things like that. Not to say you can avoid it every single time, but you're trying to avoid the Home Depot runs.
It's the little screw ups, and generally the things that happen over and over again. And that just kills the profit in the job. You're working on thin margins to begin with. One screw up, it just kills the job. So now I'd like you to touch base a little about your inside sales, Kathleen, and how SMA, your virtual assistant, SMA support, really makes the difference in that communication, that customer experience, setting up to get that 5-star review, because we're offering a 5-star experience. What do you do differently from other contractors?
So, I mean, you can use, they're great. They're going to answer questions. They're going to schedule the appointment. That's like the baseline. You got to have somebody like Ruby, your receptionist, to at least answer your phone. Very affordable and wildly more effective than just you got your phone, or maybe your spouse has your phone. If you miss a phone call, you missed the job. You missed the opportunity to go to that appointment. Just do not miss the phone call, period. End of story. All right. So next step up, other than having a full-time, fully trained receptionist, is SMA. SMA is amazing. We've used SMA for a long time, and they train all their people really well. Kathleen's our person. She's part of our team. She is awesome. She's asking the pre-qualification questions, and she understands the nuances of our business. She's part of our team. She's a dedicated team member. She remote worker, but she really cares about the success of our business. Then once the person's pre-qualified, she's obviously scheduling them. She knows, again, the distances of people and to make the most efficient routes for inspections. She's ordering materials. She's starting the proposal, and she's setting up the outside sales rep in the best case scenario for that inspection. So we want the outside salesperson to meet the homeowner, to perform roof inspections, to provide roof reports, and then to present, to have sales presentation. Inside sales rep makes that much, much easier. Let's say you can't get a decision that moment, or you don't even see the customer at the house. Inside sales rep really should be proficient in these particular areas. They need to be a follow-up master. So they, again, understand timelines. They're asking questions like, hey, when are you going to make a decision on this roof? Or they're calling and they're saying, hey, I didn't realize it was going to be $25,000. I'm getting some more quotes. Totally understand. We want you to feel comfortable in making your decision. When it would be a good time to follow up? Are you making a decision next Friday? Great. So then ProLine automation next Friday, but the inside sales rep also has a task to call that customer the next Thursday. So we're making sure that we're top of mind. Inside sales rep is incredibly important, and you can't really do it all by yourself. You need somebody dedicated to that customer experience from the very beginning. They're also, obviously, we want to schedule postcard neighborhood blitzes. We want to schedule handwritten notes to go out. We want to make sure that we're presenting on the phone with the customer on the phone, going through the proposal, or on the video call, presenting that phone. That's what we're going to be doing moving forward, not just Loom videos, but actually presenting. And then we're resending those quotes constantly. We're obviously calling, texting, and emailing. There's automations calling, texting, and emailing, but we're going to resend the quote so it pops to the top of their email inbox, and they're like, I gotta look at this again. And then they need to be a really good inside salesperson. The kind of creme de la creme is, can they overcome real objections? Right. And a huge thing is training. You want to help them train. They may have some sales training, but you also want to empower that inside sales rep to understand the numbers to maybe work out a deal. If you have a certain range of profit margin you want to hit, you want to give them authority to make that sale as long as it's hitting those profit margins. That's another huge thing that people do not want to let go. Owners do not want to let go of that ability to actually make the deal. And we've seen this past year, 2024 has been really difficult, where we were way over 42% profit margin, and now we're definitely in the low 30s. Because it's just incredibly competitive now. People are just losing their lunch to sell these roofs, and they're going out of business. But we have to be closer than, hey, you're $9,000 more than this other person, and they're just giving it away. Like it's not going to work. We're not going to be able to sell a job, and so you need to give your team authority to make sure that the profit margins still make sense for your business, but that they are actually closing those jobs at a higher rate.
So we've done all these things. We've got this great communication. We're going to wrap this up. We need to make sure the customer's satisfied, and we've got to get that 5-star review. You've got to get reviews. It means everything to get reviews. Post them on your social media. Post them on your GMB page, obviously, everywhere. And that's going to make the difference. Set a goal. Okay. I see these, if you've got 10, 15, 20 reviews, and John, what do you got now? I mean, we're
a couple hundred. Honestly, it's been really difficult. On all the platforms, we're over a couple hundred. I don't even know the exact number because I have to combine them all. But yeah, you got to ask for a review all the time. I mean, it's a weird thing. If somebody can figure it out, let me know, because we've been in the 160s for a long time, and they keep getting taken down. We get more. Right. So all the more reason to get as many reviews as possible, because it is really important for SEO. It's really important for humans seeing it as well. They want to see recent reviews. They want to see what somebody experienced with you last week. It's wildly powerful if you have that constantly in your feed of like, last week this customer said 5 stars because of these reasons. It's so helpful.
Also, as we're building to sell, we're building value into our business. Your business, if you've got, some companies have over 1,000 reviews, 1,500 reviews. If you've got those reviews, you've got value. Your SEO, if you've got people coming to you, you don't have to pay for leads. You can reduce your marketing spend. That all has value, but it takes consistency. It's not difficult, doesn't cost a lot of money. It's consistency, blocking and tackling. Okay, so we've sold the job, and just to back up a little bit, the money is made in the sale. Okay, you've got to sell for a higher price. You've got to make a good margin. Okay, production's job is to hold on to that profit. Okay, is not have anything, slipping out. It's to maintain the profit. Okay, that's what it's all about. Now, we've done the job, we've made money, we've sold it for a lot of money, we did the job efficiently. Now we've got to keep score. Well, how did we really do? Did we make money on the jobs? Are we job costing? If you're not job costing, how the hell do you know if you're making? Oh, well, I have a gut feel. A gut feel isn't worth squat for the value of a business. Okay, you've got to know your numbers, what your margins are, where you need to be. So it's pretty simple. Here's your estimate. Here's the actual of what actually happened. Here's your variance. Okay, do you have variance? Well, I had a situation where one of my sales guys, I don't know, guy couldn't measure the roof or whatever, but and these are large jobs. He was missing his material costs by 5-10%. So I wouldn't know that. And we've had all this slippage. I go, what the hell, man? So we finally got that back in line. Didn't take us long, but we made those adjustments, and that's what we're talking about. So first off, you've got to come out of that job, and also you've got to get the invoicing out, your cash flow. This is what scorekeeping is about. Are you getting those invoices? John keeps it calls it speed to invoice, getting those invoices, collecting that money. So, if you've got outstanding receivables, if you don't have a good payment strategy, you're going to run into cash flow problems. You're always going to be trying to you can't pay your vendors. You're not taking any discounts, that's for sure. So now we come into our scorekeeping. And the first thing is we've got to have a good set of books. Okay. And very few contractors, because this is what I do. I call it with the Roofer CFO. This is what we're looking at. First off, are your QuickBooks set up correctly? Do you have your job costs all together above that gross profit line? Where are these overhead costs, or are these actual job costs? We've got to know all that. So that's where we start with the cleanup and getting those books set up. If you don't do that, you're just going to continue to make the same mistakes. And you've got financial statements that don't mean anything. You can't read them. So if you're not looking at the correct gross profit margin, that actual gross profit margin, you're marking your costs up, and you're not marking your jobs up enough. So every time you sell a job, you're actually losing a few points. You're losing money. John, thoughts? Tell me you're supposed to say, Dave, watch your talk listen ratio. Okay.
You're
talking
fine.
Too much.
It's important things that we all need to be reminded constantly of these things. It's a hard business. Like it's not something that should be taken lightly, and you can't just say, I'm a good sales rep, I can do this. You need a lot of things. Every business has administration, accounting, marketing, sales, and production. It's not just one of those things. It's not just two of those things. You need all 5 to make sure that you're successful. Because we know the average roofing business goes out of business before year 2, definitely before year 5. It's because of those reasons. It is an amazing opportunity, but it is very difficult, and you better be prepared to address all those issues.
I call it the business end of the business. Most contractors, they either came up through sales, they came up through the trades. Very few people came up through the accounting business. Okay, the numbers, the running the business end of your business. And you've got to know that. You've got to understand that just as much as how to sell a roof, just as much as how to put on a roof, your three-legged stool. If your third leg is not strong, if you don't understand what those financial statements mean inside and out, your balance sheet, your profit and loss statement, your cash flow analysis, if you don't understand those inside and out, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to grow a successful business where you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck at these levels that you can't get to those next levels. Okay. And this is a lot what comes down to it. So we've got our financial statements set up correctly. Now we've got to do our bookkeeping, regular bookkeeping, accurate bookkeeping. You need to have a financial statement out by the following month, by the 15th. And you've got to review that. You just don't stick it in your inbox and never look at it like most contractors. You've got to understand what the numbers say. What are the numbers telling you? How do we need to make an adjustment? Are we doing well or are we not? Most contractors, that's just a, gut feeling. Okay. Numbers, understand your numbers. We use Tisha, who's our bookkeeper. A lot of our, mastermind group members use her. And you can outsource good bookkeeping, but it has to be good bookkeeping. We're talking about construction accounting. It's different than regular accounting. You want somebody that understands construction, not somebody that does the dentist and the dry cleaners down the street. You need somebody that understands construction. Talk to me about that. Talk to John. We can help you there and get that straightened out. John, okay, what else do we got? I think
we won the day. We did it.
That's all there is to it. This business is so simple. No wonder we're successful. I mean, it's easy going. I think this is going to be a wrap because these guys are coming in here. I'm not going to be able to hear anything here in a minute. John, wrap us up.
Sell work, do work, keep score.
Do the basics. Check the boxes. Keep it simple and be consistent. Thanks everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. Get a chance, leave us a review. Gotta have reviews. You go to iTunes, you can go to Spotify, and also make sure that you check out our YouTube channel at Dave Sullivan Roofer Show. Check it out. You can watch this professional operation here. You just don't have to listen to it. So, John, thanks so much. It's always good to see you. We'll talk soon. Thanks for listening.
Dave.